Apple's iPhone 17 lineup is gonna be insane with 4 new models: the iPhone 17, the 17 Air, the 17 Pro, and the 17 Pro Max, complete with a redesigned camera bump that'll be made out of aluminum, which has some major benefits. But what I'm gonna focus on in this video is the iPhone 17 Air, because it's gonna be by far the most interesting iPhone out of the lineup, with a completely unique design that Apple has never done before. So let's go through 8 leak updates. For leak update number 1, the iPhone 17 Air is now apparently rumored to be about 2 millimeters thinner than the iPhone 16 Pro. I have the 16 Pro Max right here, took off my magnetic case. But to me, this feels pretty dang thin. I literally cannot imagine having that iPhone, the Air, be 2 millimeters thinner than this thing. That'd make it about 6.25 millimeters thick, which is just crazy. Now, the 13-inch 2024 iPad Pro is 5.1 millimeters thick. That feels impossibly thin in your hand. I'm not even sure how Apple achieved this. It's just mind-blowing. And the really nice thing about having the Air be that thin is that you can add a case on top and it'll still be thinner than this iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is just so nice. And that probably means that Apple's gonna have to sacrifice a couple of things to make that happen, which I'll get into in this video. Now, for leak update number 2, Apple was granted a patent for technology that would allow it to have Face ID embedded in the display, allowing them to reduce the size of the camera cutout. Now, this is probably what's gonna allow Apple to make it that much thinner, since instead of having to have the display panel and then right behind it a selfie cam module, they can basically embed the module and the camera into the panel to basically save space on the back end. Now, we did have a leak from Jeff Poo that the iPhone 17 Pro Max would have a new dynamic island that's much narrower than what we have right now. And that also combines with older leaks of Apple using a brand new redesigned Face ID True Depth Sensor Array module. So basically, it's gonna be a lot thinner and more compact. So I believe that this new redesigned module is gonna be what allows the dynamic island to be smaller, and I think it actually makes more sense to be put into the 17 Air, or maybe the entire iPhone 17 lineup as well, since it'll come hand in hand with leak number 3. And that is, of course, the selfie camera being upgraded to 24 megapixel resolution. Finally, I mean, the Face ID tech that I just talked about is gonna be essential to help fit in that brand new 24 megapixel module, because it has a larger sensor and needs more space, so they need technology to make it as thin as possible. And I do believe the rumors show that all of the iPhone 17 models should have the same new upgraded 24 megapixel selfie cam, and that's gonna give you a huge upgrade in selfie quality. Because right now, Apple is falling behind in terms of selfie quality compared to their competitors. It's definitely not as sharp. It struggles at night with noisy selfies, and the larger sensor would definitely improve the low light quality and allow more light to go into those pixels. And it's finally gonna solve the problem of bad selfies. Now, for number 4, the iPhone 17 Air will apparently only have one camera on the back, which is probably one of those sacrifices that Apple had to make this new design so thin. But how and why in the world would Apple do this, especially if the Pro models have a triple camera setup, and especially with the rumors pointing to a new redesigned camera bump that's supposed to be in the top center instead of in the corner, according to the information. And apparently the new iPhone Air is gonna have a single camera at the top center as well, which is interesting. They probably are gonna have like this kind of oval with the camera, the flash, and the microphone to kind of make it nice. I think they're gonna make it seamless between all of the iPhone 17 models. But the question is, which camera is gonna stay? Well, obviously the 48 megapixel main camera has to stay because it has the highest quality and the best kind of zoom ratio. You can also use 2x sensor crop for zooming, which now works great. And the question is, why would Apple get rid of the ultra wide? Is it really not used that much? Or what if Apple comes out with some crazy new dual camera where they have ultra wide kind of in front with the main camera behind it? Is that possible? Probably not, but it seems like Apple just wants to go crazy unique with this new model and make it clear that this is a brand new exclusive Air model that's never been seen before. It's not just a Plus that's a larger version of the regular one like they've done forever. It's all new. And now getting to number 5, this is about the display, which is kind of really interesting. It's gonna have a 6.55-inch display according to Ross Young, which always gets the display leaks correct. And it's weird because the iPhone 16 Plus, which this iPhone Air is supposed to replace, has a larger 6.7-inch display. So why would Apple downgrade the size? Why make it smaller if it's supposed to replace that Plus model? Maybe Apple wants it to not just feel thin, but also compact in your hand, so they're basically making the display smaller. Or maybe they're making the bezels super thin, so it still feels like the same display size in terms of how immersive it is. Or maybe it's something entirely different that we don't know about. I mean, there were clues that this new Air could be a foldable phone, which explains why it would need to be that thin, but then the price point doesn't really make sense, which is leak number 6. We just got confirmation that the price of the new Air will be less than $1,000, sitting below the price of the new iPhone 17 Pro, which has been $1,000 even since the iPhone 10. So this new price point points to it being a perfect replacement for the 16 Plus model, which is $900, so it makes total sense to me. And this is great news because we know for sure it's not gonna be a flagship model that's higher than the Pro Max that some of the rumors pointed to, but a brand new and unique model for a specific buyer, and I am all for it. Leak update number 7 is that the iPhone 17 Air will have Apple's very first 5G modem that will debut in the iPhone SE 4. Now this is very weird because it reports to a specific model, the Air, getting this custom Apple modem, but not the rest of the iPhone 17 lineup. So why is that? Well, maybe it's because Mark Gurman said that this will be like an entry-level modem that's not gonna support millimeter wave 5G. So maybe the rest of the lineup is gonna still use Qualcomm with the millimeter wave support. That could definitely make sense. Apparently this new 5G modem is called Sinope, and they are considering it a downgrade to the current Qualcomm modems. So maybe Apple's just trying to save money by using their own modem in this new model. And finally, for leak update number 8, the new iPhone 17 Air is gonna come with the A19 chip with 8 GB of RAM for Apple Intelligence support. And of course that makes sense because the current models do. So I think the performance is gonna be great on this model, even though it's gonna be super thin to the point where you think it might throttle. I don't think so, because if Apple did what they did to the 2024 iPad Pro with the M4 chip, I mean, that thing is insanely powerful while being 5.1 millimeters thick. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have any issue with the Air in terms of performance with the A19 chip, since it's gonna be using upgraded 3nm technology from TSMC, so it should still perform just fine. I think it's gonna be quick and snappy, but also super thin. I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. So with that said, those were 8 new leak updates for the iPhone 17 Air, and let me know your thoughts on which one you're most excited about down in the comment section below, and definitely subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.